we are in the Citroen DS5 HDi DSPORT. That means it has a 1.6 litre 163 brake horsepower 2 litre diesel engine, and ooh la la, those looks. It's almost like a concept car, really, isn't it? It is so otherworldly, and that's fantastic. It sort of makes a lot of modern cars today look a bit, well, boring. The design is something that I really, really like. It turns so many heads. You know, it's been down my street just for a couple of days now, and the amount of people who've stopped to take a look at it is it's probably garnered the most attention out of all of the press cars that I've had for a test for a week. And yeah, what about it? A slight con of those sort of concept car looks, I suppose, is that the reason concept cars generally don't look like the cars that they turn them into is because, well, concept cars have tiny back proportions to make them all look voluptuous and things like that, and in the real world it's not very good for, I don't know, rear visibility. That's the same for the DS5, where they've sort of sacrificed that element of usability there for its great looks. So yeah, looking out the back is quite difficult, and it's quite a big car as well. There's no getting away from it. It is very, very long, and that sort of tapered rear end does make it quite hard to park. We do have parking sensors in this top spec model, which costs you just under £30,000. I think the range actually starts with this engine at 28,000, but then you've got the optional metallic paint and things like that. But this top spec car is packed with lots of high-tech features, like a heads-up display, massaging seats, premium audio system, all the latest sat-nav gizmos and whatnot, automatic lights, lights that chase your steering around, yeah, you name it. It's, you know, it's equipped a little bit like the Enterprise, this car, and it definitely feels as spacious as Captain Kirk's ship as well. Look at all of this! I mean, it's a big car, but there's a lot of room in here. It seats 5 perfectly adequately, 5 adults, might I add, not just 5 and a few kids. And yeah, it's a nice place to be in here. I mean, the seats are marvellously crafted and brilliantly upholstered, really, really supportive and comfortable. I love the amount of natural light let in by the sort of triple perspex, well, it's not perspex, it's actual proper heated glass up there. These little skylights that are above the car, you know, just the design of it, it oozes quality. You know, this nice high center console, the little aircraft toggle switches for bits and bobs up there. It's a really, really nice place to be. It's relatively quiet. And yeah, it really shines on the motorway, actually. Whenever you sit down, you get the cruise control on the go, and you just relax and you let the car take the strain, and you cruise to work every day in, you know, something that's a bit like a portable version of Le Louvre in France, the art gallery, or the Gherkin in London, I suppose. That's sort of the equivalent of what this would be if the Gherkin was a car. It's just sort of that modern art sort of, it's very French, very, very French in that respect. Okay, let's talk about actually driving the car. The steering's very light, which makes manoeuvring quite a big car like this a doddle, really. And the gear changes are, obviously, we're not looking for masses of driver involvement in a car such as this, because it's all about luxury and, you know, the transportation of one person to another place in comfort and, you know, in a bit of style. So we're not looking for sports car handling or anything like that. So the gear changes aren't the most involving, but they're very light. They sort of click into place very nicely with minimal effort. Seating position and driving position, on a whole, visibility facing forwards, very good. Seating position's comfortable. What I would say though is that the where the pedals are, it's a bit narrow. I mean, I've got size 10 feet, which I reckon is pretty average, and it's a little bit of a squeeze, particularly for my left foot on the clutch, though I think that's primarily to do with the car's conversion from left-hand drive in its native country of France to right-hand drive here in the UK. The engine, give it a dab of throttle, and the 2 litre surges forwards with that scrumptious amount of torque there. It is actually a very, very relaxing, pleasurable car to drive. The only thing that doesn't mix with the rest of its character, as you might be seeing here, we're not on a particularly bumpy road, but it seems to find these little humps and bumps where other cars just don't. The ride is quite firm. Now, that sort of would be expected in a car where we're looking for, you know, dynamic handling and things like that. But at the end of the day, this is a big luxury cruiser, and it's a little bit hard to forgive at times. That said, this car would probably see most of its life on the relatively smooth tarmac of the motorway. So I guess in its real day-to-day aspects, its ride wouldn't be too much of an issue. Steering wheel is quite big. It's got not loads of buttons on it, but it feels quite appropriate. I suppose, again, we're not looking for sort of that super nimble, you know, agility or anything like that you get from the DS3. This is, well, DS, a little bit of history for you. DS actually translates to goddess. It's French for goddess, and this is sort of the crown jewel until we potentially see a DS6. The crown jewel in Citroen's sort of luxury branded crown at the moment, and yeah, I'd say it's pretty good. Economy wise, it's not too bad. It's not too shy of Citroen's official figures, and yeah, I've enjoyed actually spending quite a long time just on what would be relatively long. I mean, I drive Mark 1 MX-5, so most journeys aren't the most comfortable, if we're honest. But, you know, on the whole, this is quite the... Yeah, I could get used to this. It's almost like driving around in a really posh, modern, I don't know, bar. I can see exactly the sort of people who would actually go out and buy this car. The extroverts, those people who want something a bit different, those people who don't want the traditional German export. The sort of people who wear bright purple shirts because no one else has a bright purple shirt, or vivid orange shoes just because it's a bit different. They don't like the normal. And you know what? I quite like socialising with those sort of people, because variety is the spice of life, and the Citroen DS5, that's plenty spicy.